Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. Today I'm here to share with you my final makes for February Sew My Style. If you've been following along, you know that I am one of the, or select to be one of the leaders for February, and so I've had a couple of tutorials and I'll pop links up to those tutorials up here for t-shirt sewing. So we had two patterns this month. We had the Shona t-shirt slash dress by Athena Kaku Patterns, and also the Givre dress and top by Deer and Doe Patterns. At the beginning of the month, I kind of talked about the Givre a little bit because my other co-leader, Claire from Belle Citadel, had done kind of a whole big thing about the Shona, so I took the Givre. Well, today I'm here to show you the final makes. I made 3 items. I made 2 Givres. Mostly because, well, I wanted to, but also because I used them for sample making in my tutorials that I did for you guys. And then I already owned the Shona pattern and I just really wanted to make one up, and so this was kind of my excuse this month to do that. So I've made 3 items and I'll talk you through the patterns a little bit, and come here. Sorry, we were having a little disagreement as I was getting ready to film over who got the bulk of the chair, and my dog Gidget is disagreeing with me that I get more than she does. So now she's just going to sit on the floor and bark at me. Okay, before I get started though, I would just like to ask you to hit that subscribe button. At the end of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about plans moving forward, but you don't want to miss anything. I've got some kind of different things for the channel going forward. Good stuff that you're not going to want to miss out on. And also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up because, again, that helps in my video planning. Yeah, so that really helps. Okay. So we'll talk all about that at the end of the video, so let's just dive into these 3 garments that I've made. Alright, garment number 1 is the Shona t-shirt by Athena Kaku Patterns. I made one of these and I'm currently wearing it. The pattern itself comes with 5 views, which is just crazy amazing. I did view 5, except instead of the short sleeve with the ruffle, I just went ahead and did the 3/4 length sleeve. She has a short sleeve and a 3/4 length sleeve. And then she's got pieces for, there's like a couple of ruffle options, and I've put a little bitty ruffle on the hem of this skirt, which hopefully you can see here in a second. And get you. Okay. Okay. I've put the ruffle on the bottom of this t-shirt dress because I really, you know, I just wanted a little extra something for the dress, so it just wasn't a straight t-shirt dress. Although I love this t-shirt dress. So it is not, it's very fitted in the bust and in the arms, but you have a little bit more, and hopefully in the video of me twirling you can kind of tell, you have a little bit more room in the waist and hips, and I love that. I'm just more comfortable that way. I tend to carry my weight in my midsection, so anything that's not clingy is just like perfection to me. So I'm very, very pleased with how this dress turned out, and this is going to get worn all the time this summer. I've made it out of a cotton jersey. It is an art gallery stripe cotton jersey from Stone Mountain fabric, and I will leave a link. I think they still have this, so I will leave a link in the description box of this fabric. They had a whole bunch of stripes right after the after Christmas sales, and I actually bought like 1.5 yards of quite a few of them because I love a good stripe. It's one of my favorite patterns. So I bought a few of the different colorways that go with my wardrobe because I tend to go with pastels. So, and actually you'll see another one here in a second. But anyway, this is a cotton jersey, which I love for a dress because it has just a little bit of structure. Now there is spandex in this, which gives it great recovery, so you're not dealing with things stretching out and not going back. The pattern comes with a nice narrow neckband. It's a little narrower than I'm used to, but I really like the way that it's turned out. Yeah, I'm very pleased with this neckband. And I did use my cover stitch machine to top stitch the neckline down a little bit. Use the cover stitch on my hems. Doing the hem of the ruffle was a little fiddly. In fact, looking back, I should have hemmed the ruffle. Well, you could do it either way. To hem the ruffle first before attaching it to the bottom. Also, when I attached my ruffle to the bottom of the dress, I used my ruffling foot for my serger. If you guys have a serger and don't have a ruffling foot, it is so much fun. I actually got it. I used to do some production sewing for a kids clothing line, and the dresses all had like little gathered skirts on them, and I got the ruffling foot for that. And there is a learning curve, trying to keep everything pushed over so that one piece isn't accidentally sliding out and not getting connected. But basically, you set your differential feed way up, to like a 2. Mine goes up to a 2, which means that it's feeding the bottom layer through at twice the rate as the top layer. So it gathers the bottom layer onto the top, and the ruffling foot just keeps those 2 layers separate so that they don't come together until they're actually getting stitched together at the needles. It just makes it super quick. Now it is a little bit hard when you have an actual pattern piece. In fact, I usually don't follow the ruffle pattern piece. I'll just cut a really long strip. That way it can gather as it wants to, because you don't want to run out of the gathered fabric before you get to the end of the fabric that's not being gathered. So there is a little bit of like play in there that you have to kind of mess around with. But it does make for a very cute little detail, and I was glad that I had it for this. So anyway, that was pattern number 1, and it's the only Shona that I made for this month, although I really think this summer I'm going to make a few more of her versions. I'm also going to leave a link to a blog post that she did. I think something like 21, I think it was like 21 different hacks or 16, something. It was a really large number of hacks that she's done to this pattern and like different ways that you can sew this pattern up. It's brilliant. I love when she does all of her hacks. So I will leave a link down to that blog post as well. And that's by Athena, and it's just brilliant. Okay, moving on to the second pattern, which was the Givre by Deer and Doe Patterns. And you guys would have seen this first top in my tutorials because it was the picture for the front. But this, okay, so the Givre comes as a dress or a top with a 3/4 length sleeve, and that has a yoke where you can do contrast, well, as you can see, you can do the contrast yoke across the sleeve, the top of the sleeve, and across the front and the back. Or you can do sleeveless version where there's not the yoke, and it's a sleeveless top or a sleeveless dress. So I have done both a sleeveless top and one with the yoke and sleeves. And I used very different fabrics in both, so you can kind of see the difference in these. So this I found to be a much more fitted pattern, and I could tell that just by looking at the measurement chart, and I talked about that in one of the videos. It may have been the 3 ways to do a dartless FBA. When picking your size, looking at what your body measurements are or what the size chart for the pattern company says, and then what ease has been added, or in the case of a top, negative ease has been added because you want it to hug the body. So this is a much closer fitting top, which definitely has its place. And I love this top. In fact, I just got back from Florida and I had it on down there and got quite a few compliments. So yes, love this top. But it's just funny to me how different it's sewed up from the sleeveless one, and I'll talk about just some differences in fabric. So for the fabric on this one, it's the same fabric that I've got on here. It's a cotton jersey from Art Gallery, but this is the blue in vanilla colorway on the stripe. And then on the top, also from Stone Mountain & Daughter, and I'll put a link to this fabric as well. And then on the top is a hand-dyed organic cotton knit, I believe. And it also came from Stone Mountain, the same sale. I bought a whole bunch of knits in that sale right after Christmas, using some Christmas money. I do most of my fabric shopping like in bulk, and it'll be like my fabric for the year. I'll buy a couple of pieces here and there throughout the year, but for the most part, all of my clothing for the year comes from one gigantic fabric haul, usually at the after Christmas sales. So anyway, I'll leave a link to both these fabrics, but I bought 1.5 yards of each of these because that's usually what it takes for me to get a top, or a lot of times even like a fitted dress I can get out of 1.5 yards of fabric if it's 60-inch or 54-inch wide. And so I bought 1.5 yards of each. But what is brilliant about this t-shirt pattern is that you can use scraps. You could literally, all those, because occasionally I'll have 1.5 yards of fabric and I don't quite need all of that for a t-shirt. And I have been saving, I save all my large scraps, but saving them for Frankie tees, which is the Tilly and the Buttons Frankie. It's a raglan like baseball tee from Tilly and the Buttons stretch book. And that's great for using up scraps, as is the BB skirt that she's got in there because it's got panels if you've got thicker knits. Anyway, but I've saved a whole bunch of those. But again, I've got tons of like knit scraps saved. How many Frankie tees does one need? So I'm just thrilled to have another pattern in my stash that I can use for those scraps as well. So I could easily still get another t-shirt that's just this fabric, and it's just this fabric out of it, which is very exciting. Now, the Art Gallery stripe has a little bit more recovery than the organic cotton, which I think it's fine. You do want to pay attention to that a little bit, but it is a thinner knit on top than it is this thicker, more substantial Art Gallery just has a really good, beefy, substantial knit that just wears and washes really well. So keep that in mind. Also with the Art Gallery knits, these are not printed on stripes. They're knitted in, and you can tell by looking on the back that these are actually knitted into the fabric, which is it's a very nice quality. So anyway, I love this top again. So the yoke in the front kind of curves up, so it's not cutting you straight across the boobs. And I am busty, and a lot of times when you have something with a yoke that's meant to go like right underneath your bust, it will hit me like here, like for ready to wear. So you have to be careful of that. But this hits at a nice like angle across. It goes across your chest, but at a nice curve, so it's not a straight line, and I don't feel like it adds width across there. Yeah, I'm very pleased with how this turned out. So this was t-shirt 1 that I made from the Givre. And then number 2, I did their little tank top. And I made this, again, it always amazes me how different it is when made up in a different fabric. So this is the micro knit, and it's a bamboo micro knit from Blackbird Fabrics. And she still has this type of fabric, just not this colorway. I think this was a Dusty Rose, and I bought like a meter remnant, or maybe it wasn't even a meter. It may have been like 0.9, like 90 centimeters maybe, or 80 centimeters or something, remnant of this color. I love this. This is going to get so much wear this summer. In fact, I was tempted to go back and buy some of her other colorways of this fabric just to make a couple more tanks, because this is just going to be a great layering piece. So this obviously has a lot more drape, and I don't feel like it fits as closely to my body because it has a lot more drape, which is nice. So again, I'm very tempted to buy some more of her colorways in this fabric, just, you know, just like a meter of each, to make some more of these tanks, because I think this is going to be a great layering tank for the summer. So again, we've got the neckband and then armbands for, that's how this pattern is finished off, and I top stitched all those down on my cover stitch machine, and you saw that in the cover stitch tutorial. But yeah, not too much else to say about this other than the fabric is dreamy, and this pattern, it just, if you use a bamboo or a rayon knit, you're going to get a drapier top again than if you use a cotton, which clearly holds its shape and fits a little closer to the body. So anyway, 2 absolutely amazing patterns. They're t-shirts. I mean, how can you go wrong? And yeah, I'm very pleased with how this month, and I really enjoyed this month of Sew My Style. It was really fun being a leader, and I'm looking forward. I have 2 more months of being leader and 2 more months of being, no, 1 more month of being a host. I was supposed to be a host this month, but because of all the personnel switching around and stuff, I actually took on a leader role instead of host. So I will actually be leader 3 times this year and host just once, as opposed to leader twice and host twice. So I'm looking forward to my other 3 months, though, that I get to play around with the patterns and coming up with tutorials and stuff, and I just had a really great time this month. So I hope you guys followed along with Sew My Style, now that we've kind of got the ball rolling a little bit better. And I think, what is today? Let's see, you're watching this on Friday, the 23rd, I think, which the email for December should be, or December, holy moly. The email for March should be coming out here pretty soon with the coupon codes and stuff for March. And it is cardigans. There is a Style Art cardigan, the Como cardigan, and also Helen's Closet Blackwood cardigan. And both of them have extended sizing. They're both different cardigans. They're both long, but the Helen's Closet's a little more fitted, whereas the Como's a little more slouchy. And I'm going to be making both of those as well, just because I love a good cardigan, especially in spring. So yes, so I will leave a link again, and it is kind of confusing because the sign up for Sew My Style is at Maddie Made This website still, just because that was too cumbersome to try and move that now. But Meg from Meg Made Sewing, Meg Made Sewing is actually leading it, but she doesn't have anything on her actual website. And I also wanted to say, I'm going to put a link also on Instagram. Sew My Style now has its own Instagram account, which will just be wonderful for keeping things in one little spot all the time. So I will leave a link so you can follow that easily, the actual Sew My Style account down below. And of course you can follow the hashtag, the Sew My Style 2019 hashtag, or any of the patterns, those hashtags as we go forward. So that's it for February for Sew My Style, and just wanted to do some business real quick. Okay, so going forward, I am finishing up my Megan Nielsen capsule. I have got the Floriette, my makes that are going to be going up on Tuesday next week. And then you guys asked for just a whole roundup of all 4 of those patterns. And I'll probably just be doing me and that one and just the things that I've made for myself, not my daughter, just because it's getting harder and harder to wrangle her into posing for the shots and stuff. But I will do a roundup mix and match type video for next Friday. Then we're going to be into March, and my plan is to do the hold on, let me grab it. Oh, I'm going to sit on her again. We're going to have an argument. We're going to do a solo. I'm going to do a sew along for this Lisette pattern, and it is B6641. It's this Lisette blazer, and I'm kind of thinking I've not done, there we go, I've not done the filming yet for this, but I'm thinking that it's probably going to take all month. Now, I'm not going to do every single video in March is not going to be this blazer, but I thought maybe I would make like maybe my Tuesday videos would just be the sew along of this blazer. And I'm going to start off pretty basic and going through how to pick your fabric, how to pick your interfacing, how to, gather your notions and that kind of thing. I'm not going to get into fitting very much on this, other than talking about this pattern does have, yes, the cup sizes, so I'll talk a little bit about that. But for the most part, I'm not going to get into fitting so much. This is pretty much just going to be a sew along, but I will talk about what fabrics to, how to pick your fabric, what fabrics would work best. I will show some samples of different fabrics that you could choose, show you what I have decided to go with, and yeah, just basically gathering notions for this blazer. And then from then on, it will just be the different steps of sewing the blazer. So I will probably all the Tuesdays in March, I'm assuming that will be that long. I'll break it up into steps. But if you want to go ahead and grab this pattern so you're ready to sew along, that would be great. And you could gather some of your notions already if you wanted to. It's pretty basic. So yeah, I mean, you just need lining and interfacing, and I will talk about that more the first Tuesday of March. But if you wanted to go ahead and get a head start, that's fine too. So, yes, so that's what we're going to do in March. And then on Fridays in March, I am going to go through, I'll do a little Sew My Style. I'm going to do, at the end of the month, a seasonal 3 roundup, because once we've made this blazer, that will be my 3 patterns that I planned on making for the first 3 months of the year. And do kind of a roundup on that. And also, I'll be doing a lot of tutorials, obviously, little mini tutorials as we are sewing through this blazer. But if there's anything else, I've been getting a lot of good feedback on some of the tutorials I've done for Sew My Style, and people have commented before and left different, little bitty mini tutorials that they would love to have lessons on. So if there's anything, if you've not commented before and there's something that you really want to see, someone's commented that they would love a video on how to install a invisible zipper, how to use an industrial machine. I can definitely do that video in March if you guys are curious about how that differs from a home machine. And I can even talk about money and price and stuff like that if that's something you're interested in. Yeah, so there were some zipper requests, how to do welt pockets. Although there is I don't know if it's a welt pocket or not. I've not opened up the pattern yet, but there's a flap. I don't know if it's an actual working welt pocket with a flap or not. But, I could do something like that, how to do welt pockets, how to do zippered welt pockets, bound buttonholes, that kind of stuff, if that's of interest to you. Or even, yeah, just let me know. But that's kind of it immediately for March. So again, we'll be going through this most of March on Tuesdays, and then Fridays will be other videos. So that is kind of it moving forward. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and then you won't miss any of the fun stuff that we've got going on. Yeah, I think that's it for today, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Bye.